Fernando Nascimento. I'm an assistant professor in digital and computational studies at Bowdoin College.
Amanda Stent, director of the Davis Institute for AI, Colby College.
I think that reading and talking a little bit about the state of AI in Maine was a surprise to me. There are so many aspects that are going on that I didn't know of. So getting to know these specific things that are happening in the state and the problems and the landscape of what needs to be done for us to get to the next level was fascinating.
Yeah, I thought the community building aspect was phenomenal. Like you say, getting to meet people. I loved the tables from CSTA, the Computer Science Teachers Association, and the Maine Math Association. It's great to have those K through 12 efforts here. Wonderful to hear from companies, and wonderful to hear so much robust discussion around the ethical and policy aspects of AI. And so you were on this panel. I had opinions.
Yeah.
What was your opinion?
Oh, it was great. And one of the reasons why it was so nice is that there were representatives from different voices. There were ethicists, but there were also public servants working with legislation, lawmakers, the private sector. So seeing the different voices converging is such an important thing, isn't it?
That question that guy asked in the back of the room, where he would take his drugs without an explanation, but he needed an explanation when an AI makes a decision about, I don't know, what did he say, buying a house? What did you think about that question?
Yeah, I think that the what's behind that question is that if the results that we get from AI are aligned with our expectations, we tend to oversee the problematic nature of everything that is happening in between. And from an ethical standpoint, this might not be a very important factor. Irrespective of the outcome, we need to consider the steps for us to be comfortable as human beings and to balance results with how much we can understand of the process, I think.
Yeah, I think this definition of an explanation is really interesting. And I know here at the RU they're working on explainable AI. Sometimes explanations are text explanations, sometimes it's the evidence, like the system just produces its evidence, and sometimes it's just a call to authority. You should trust me because I have a PhD. You should trust me because I read the whole internet. What kind of explanation would satisfy you?
Yeah, I think that to me the difference between the medical doctor and the AI is that I hope that the medical doctor has empathy as a human being. So the explanation embedded in a framework of empathy, of care, probably is an important ingredient of the whole puzzle.
Do you think in 10 years at the 10th State of AI in Maine, there will be AIs that have empathy?
I don't think so. I still think that empathy is something that is very synesthetic, is very embodied, and it might take a while for autonomous entities to get everything that we need and evolved over time as human beings to build a system that is empathic as a whole and not a brain that becomes empathic.
Embodied. I think to have empathy, an agent has to have a theory of mind. It has to be able to distinguish the other from itself.
Oh, yes.
And I don't see that happening with any of the AIs we have today.
Oh, yeah. And the other thing is empathy. That's a fascinating question, actually, Amanda. I was thinking about it, the ChatGPT stuff. If I ask you, how are you doing? You tell me, I'm doing great at Colby. I just finished my Gen plan. I would say, I'm very happy for you. But there are many models that are going through me to say I'm happy for you. Not only the linguistic model. The language itself is just one expression model that I use. But as a human being, I am really happy, emotionally embodied being that is happy for your semester. Right? And ChatGPT does not have all those other layers.
I remembered when I was in elementary school, I used to have fun with an Apple IIe. You could type in English on the command line, it would produce these hilarious error messages, didn't understand anything. But I would say thank you, and it would be like, I'm sorry, I didn't understand you, please try again. So I asked ChatGPT those questions the other day, and at the end I said thank you, just to see what it would say. Because some human has to have programmed something in there, and it said, "You're very welcome. Come again. Let's chat anytime." And I was curiously unsatisfied.
Yeah.
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 And maybe that's the other models that we are, we feel when we have the human interaction. Now, is it possible that it's going to be developed over time? I don't know, but it's far from the current status.
Yeah. Do you have an opinion on that? Is AI coming for your job?
To me, the question behind the question of jobs is the question of meaning.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the real problem is we as human beings, we are meaning creatures. We need to have ways to give meaning to our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And meaning in the sense of not only it makes sense, but also it has value.
Mm-hmm.
And our job is one of the ways in which we evolved to find meanings to our lives. Yeah. So that's the big question to me. AI has a play on that, but maybe it's a broader question of how we replace the ways in which we get meaning if we take jobs out of the equation.
Yeah, there was an interesting report called the Shift Commission report about the shift in the future of work. Came out about 7 or 8 years ago now. Mm-hmm. And it was about these 4 hypothetical futures. And one of them was one in which we have a lot of leisure, but we struggle, to make meaning, to form community, to do all these things. I think in Maine, if Maine used to be all paper mills, and at one point it was all, I believe it was fabric and knitting, people are very creative about finding new jobs. And I read an article over the Christmas break about people who they do blueberries in the summer, and then in the winter they garner garlands from trees. So you don't kill the trees, and they talked about how they loved being in nature. Mm-hmm. I think that's the kind of job that is incredibly difficult to automate because the trees are so organic themselves. Yeah. And so I think people will find new jobs, as well as, like, we have no shortage of job openings. If people are willing to be trained and educated, then there are jobs in Maine. That is not a concern for now.